Alright, so... Like, how did you feel about the movie?
It was hard to sit through.
Yeah.
Some parts were just really painful to sit through. It's pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Like, it was...
I'm Quin, by the way.
Oh.
This is...
I'm Jenny. Jenny Trout.
And we watched 50 Shades last night.
Unfortunately, we did.
Yeah.
That was...
It happened.
It happened. We did that to ourselves.
What about you? Did you think it was...
I know we said, like, we didn't want to sit here and, like, shit on it the whole time, but it's really hard not to.
Yeah. we want to be fair, but...
But it's really hard because there wasn't a lot of positive stuff. I will say that I liked the movie better than the books.
Yeah. I mean, like is a very... We use that term very lightly.
Yeah. It's like I like... You know, that, I don't know, it's like if you could compare two different awful things, like, I would rather have a rabies vaccination than my appendix out.
Yeah, okay.
Like, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the only comparison you can really make because both of them are bad.
Yeah, I think the beginning of it, like, happened really fast and it was just really awkward, like, when she meets him and it felt really forced and uncomfortable, the whole scene where they're in the office. I didn't feel any chemistry between the actress and the actor. Like, I'm sure they were trying their best, but with the source material.
Well, I felt like the first, like, maybe half of the movie was really enjoyable. Not enjoyable, but I mean, like, in terms of pacing, in terms of whatever, it was okay. But then it slowed way down. Once they started having a sexual relationship, it was like, yeah. And it slowed down really bad.
And some of the parts, like, where they took the actual dialogue from the book was really funny. Like, it was really, really funny. And it wasn't just us that was laughing in the movie theater.
Oh, yeah, that's what
it was everyone.
People there just laughing their asses off. Like, it's like when he's like, I'm 50 Shades of fucked up.
Oh my
like,
God, it was so funny.
It.
But it was funny. It was supposed to be a serious thing, and it was really funny. Or, like, Later's baby.
Later's baby.
Yeah, that felt really forced, but it was funny.
Well, yeah, and it was the beginning. Like, I noticed that they really kept it exactly like the movie, or like the books. Like, with the exception of, like, it opened with Christian Grey, like, out running, and you see him, like, open this drawer, and it's, like, all gray ties.
So many ties?
I mean, they're all
How many ties do you have? I do not believe this is...
You have 50 shades of gray tie?
I don't believe that's an actual man's closet, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It was just, like, all... And, you know, though, for, like, a billionaire, he didn't have as many suits and shit that I thought.
Yeah, it was just a lot of white shirts and ties.
Yeah.
And apparently that's all he uses for bondage. For bondage ties, yeah.
You know what, like, I felt was a little bit interesting was that in the books, his money's talked about a lot. And in the movie, they didn't really do that. They were just like, you know, he's this rich guy. They never said explicitly how much money he made. Where in the book, they laid it out. Like, this is how much money he's making per minute.
That's right.
Yeah.
But also, like, they did, you know, he's just like, he kept buying her things and, you know, just, oh, here you go. Here's some stuff. We bought you some clothes. We bought you some books. We bought you a car. And it's not mentioned ad nauseum like it is in the books.
Yeah.
But it's still there. Like, it's...
Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't even think they just made it clear that he was very successful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, in the books, he straight up tells her, like, this is how much money I make per hour.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was, like, some, like, ridiculously huge amount. But I was surprised, though, that it started out, like, how the book starts out, just with, like, with Anna looking in the mirror and being like, oh, I don't like the way I look, you know, my hair isn't right. It was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't say, oh, my hair isn't right, but it was like, you got the facial expression.
It was made better by not hearing her internal thoughts.
Yes.
Like, that's probably, okay, that's one good thing about it. Like, we didn't have to hear what was going on in her head. We got to see it, but...
She was more likable.
She was.
Because in the book, she's just so, like, oh, I don't like anything. Oh, I hate my best friend. Oh, this isn't good enough.
Yeah.
Oh, that is horrible. And everybody's like...
Oh, the blonde that's taking me to his office.
There wasn't any blonde hate.
No, there wasn't. But I remembered it though. Like I'm like, oh, this is what's going on in her head. Like right now, she's like that blonde bitch.
Like even when she meets the housekeeper with the Swiss Miss braids, she doesn't like say anything weird to her. She doesn't look at her weird. Like none of the blonde hate came over, which I always thought was weird in the books anyway. But there was like a none of that was there. That was good to lose. Most of my thing with it is that they cut so much out, like so much stuff that made the book unbearable. And I think that the director and the writer had a lot to do with that. Because I think that E.L. James literally wanted to see every page on the screen.
I wonder if she was hoping to see the inner goddess in like a little thought bubble or something.
Like Lizzie McGuire. Like a little animated.
Staring at you over a novel.
Right. One thing I did really like about it too is that they kept the emails, which I wasn't sure how they were going to do that, but honestly the only part of the book that I felt worked very well was when they were emailing and messaging each other. Like I thought that I don't know, it felt like both characters had more personality in their emails and in their texts than they did when they were just talking to each other.
Yeah, I can see that.
But so I liked that they kept those. I think they went a little too fast. Like
it was kind of, it was hard to read some of it. It was like, oh wait, what happened?
Yeah, what did they just say?
Something about a sack? What?
Well, that and I had like my head under a coat the whole time because
she was live tweeting.
But I didn't want to be rude, so I was like...
I was like whispering what was going on.
She's like, he's using a condom!
No, I thought that was a big deal because in the books he's just like, I hate condoms, condoms suck, and like, she gets on the pill, but pregnancy is not the only consequence of sex that I think people seem to forget about.
Yeah, and you know, Christian Grey seems kind of like the kind of guy who would be like, well, I'm rich, so clearly I don't have any STDs. Yeah, but
that's another matter entirely.
What did you think about the translation between the characters, like Christian and Anna? Because I have some thoughts on that. But how do you think they translated from the books?
To be honest, like the first half of the movie, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but I didn't hate either of them as much as I did in like, I mean, it was like, oh, I know what's coming, I know what's gonna happen, but it wasn't like, you're the worst person ever, you're the worst people ever. Like, I mean, especially with Anna, she seemed a bit more likable, more relatable. She had a better head on her shoulders than in the book. Well, and like, when she drunk dialed him, like, it was such a better scene. Yeah. It wasn't...
Yeah. Like, not being privy to all of her insecure and weirdly bitchy thoughts made her seem definitely more relatable and more like somebody that I wouldn't want to slap repeatedly within 10 minutes of meeting her.
Yeah.
More like book Anna, I was just like, ah. I thought Christian, too, I kind of liked how, whether intentional or unintentional, in the movie he came across as just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And in the book it's like, oh, he's the hottest thing ever. And blah, blah, blah.
He's just eccentric. Like, it was... I mean, it seemed that way. Like, I'm not saying, oh, he's just like all the stuff that we know that happens, but for the movie itself, like, I'm really trying to keep this about the movie, but we're kind of failing a little bit, but it's all good.
Well, it's hard because it's like a movie based off of a book,
Yeah, that there was so much, I mean, you can say that about a lot of movies, but this one, it's like, the writer, the author is so, like, involved in the process and stuff, right? Like,
yeah, they said it's like an unprecedented... author involvement in this, and I think that you can see places where it didn't work.
Yeah, and you can tell that the people portraying the characters, they did what the script said, and it was uncomfortable and for all of us.
Yeah, because like the places where they used her actual dialogue, you could feel how clunky it was. Like Star Wars dialogue. It was like, you can write it but you can't say it.
Yeah, oh, that's a good way to put it.
Like that kind of thing. It's, like Harrison Ford famously said, you can write this shit, but you can't say it. And there were times where you could tell that it was, even if I hadn't read the books, I think I could have told that this was something that...
Yeah.
I don't know if I used that grammatically correctly, but whatever. I don't know. There was a big kerfuffle online where they talked about how E.L. James and Sam Taylor Johnson...
And that's the director, right?
Yeah, she's the director. Fought over what the last word in the movie was going to be. And the way that it ends is... It doesn't, like... The
spoilers, if you haven't seen it yet.
The way that it ends is after Christian does his, like, she's like, oh yeah, do it as hard as you can, or do to me what you really want to do to me. And she's, like, so horrified by it.
That was a really rough scene to watch, by the way. Like, I was really squirming, and I almost, like, I was starting to get kind of emotional, like, watching her cry. And it's like, there's... I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
that's okay.
Like, there's the other scenes when they're, you know, doing the... Oh, they're being so kinky before they fuck, because that's all this kink is in this world, at least that we have seen right now, according to the movie, that it's just foreplay for fucking, which we'll, you know, we can discuss that later, but for that, like, she seemed to enjoy the other parts, like, even though she was a little nervous about it, didn't really understand it, she was excited. She was her body did seem to be reacting positively to it. You know, there's little smiles here and there, and you're kind of like, she seems to enjoy it. But no, she's fucking, she doesn't want to be hit by him, and he's just so aroused by making her hurt in the worst possible way, and the way she doesn't want to have happen, and you have to fucking sit through that scene.
And he's getting off on the fact that she's, like, not into it.
Yeah, and, like, she's sobbing, and it's horrible. So that fucking happens, and... Continue, I'm sorry to interrupt. Like,
oh, no, you know, one thing I wanted to actually touch on, and this is a good place to, is that there's the scene where he comes into her house, and she rolls her eyes at him because he bought her this car, and he stole her car, and bought her a new one. Without consulting her, and so she rolls her eyes at him, and he takes her inside and spanks her. And in the book, it's a really traumatic thing for her. She's like, "Why is he doing this?" and blah blah blah.
She's horrified by it.
And in the movie, though, she's like smiling.
It was kind of playful.
Yeah,
like she was chuckling about it, and it's just like, well, you know, this is different. Like we're starting to tell a different story at this point.
But she did sub-drop after that.
She did, and he just fucking left.
He left.
And she's talking to her mom on the phone crying. Like, that was hard to watch as well. Like,
that was very rough. Because I liked Anna more. This is going to sound terrible, but I disliked Anna so much in the first book, I really didn't give a shit what happened to her.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but I was like, okay, whatever, she's crying, you know. And I guess I shouldn't be that way towards, like, a woman, but I, you know, like...
It is a fictional character, but, like, not, like, this... First book here. We're still talking first book, first movie. Like that's all we're touching on at the moment.
Yeah. Those feelings definitely changed as the series went on. Yeah. But in the first book, I just like
what you were saying is that it was towards the end, like after that horrible scene that happens. They were talking. They were fighting over the last word that would be.
Yeah, they were fighting over the last word in the movie because she goes to get on the elevator to leave, and she's just like broken up with him, and. She goes to get on the elevator to leave, and the way that it goes is like she gets in the elevator and he starts to come towards her, and she goes no, like he's a dog. And
oh my god, that was
no,
great.
Stop. And
yeah, the way she said like because he does the move like when she says no, and then she's like stop really loud, and he's just like, and then
yeah. Well, the argument was whether or not she would say stop or red, and Sam Taylor Johnson wanted her to say red. And E.L. James was like, no, because E.L. James apparently has a problem with people using safe words. And and so there was apparently this huge on-set fight, and like the producer was like, it was the stupidest thing for anybody to fight over. But honestly, I would have rather have her say red. You know, because I think it would...
Well, just, she clearly, like, it's going to be weird to kind of say, I think, but... I think she just kind of thought he was crazy, like with his likes and stuff. Like that's kind of the way that, like the whole part of the movie, she was like, oh, this is so crazy. Like it is fucking crazy the way it's portrayed. But I don't think if we wanted it to end with her saying red, I think that would be her showing that she has respect for that scene, and she doesn't.
That's true.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, like, from my perspective, I'm looking at it and going, maybe that would be she would think that was the only way.
Well, like, kind of throwing it back in his face. Yeah, well, no, that does make sense.
But, you know, maybe, I mean, either way, but I mean, I just can't imagine. I do think it would, somehow Red seemed like it would be more powerful.
He would listen to it more. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think.
But he was definitely shocked when she was like, no, and like, that was like, she stuck up for herself way more.
She did, yeah. And
I liked that. I mean, because in the book, she's just like, okay, and then she leaves and goes home and cries and hugs the deflated Mylar balloon.
Which does makes an appearance in the movie.
It's in there, the Mylar balloon of Charlie Tango. Okay, this was one thing I really enjoyed about the movie. I was so excited. I mean, like, here's the thing. I hated these books. I mean, I spent so much time hating on these, like, such a huge part of my persona is hating 50 Shades of Grey. But we're watching the movie, and I was excited. Like, we saw Taylor, and I'm like, oh, yeah, she was like, I'm like, Taylor! I mean, even, like, I think I yelled that in the theater. I was like, yay!
Yeah, you were excited. It was cute.
And then Charlie Tango, I was like, oh, Charlie Tango, Charlie Tango!
I laughed so hard at that part, like, because when, you know, when she comes outside and it's like this ridiculous music starts playing, and I like laughed out loud, and I'm just like, look how cool he is, and Jen's like, you're gonna get us kicked out. It was just so ridiculous. Like the music that they're playing, and he's just all in front of it, you know, like, look how cool I am in my helicopter. And like, it's so ridiculous. Oh, I couldn't.
Welcome to my helicopter.
I've never let anybody ride in my helicopter before.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But I couldn't believe how excited I was. Here's one thing. His brother Elliot looked nothing like how I imagined him.
Oh, he was hot.
He was
so
hot.
When him and the roommate, Kate, yeah, when they're fucking, like, so Christian and Anna come in and they're like fucking on the couch. You see, oh my god, what is it? Elliot. Okay, yeah, you see his ass, and he comes up and he's like, "Oh hi!" just shaking hands after he's had his fucking hand up her pussy.
I'm like, just wash your hands.
No, come on.
You know, everybody at the theater though was kind of like laughing.
Yeah, we were amongst kindred spirits. I think it wasn't just like people watching this to be excited by it, or you could tell it was kind of like snarky people.
Like, everybody that loved it has probably seen it over the weekend, and it was like we were with the curious crowd. Yeah. Like, we're seeing it just to
see what the hype is, yeah.
One guy at the end, when the credits roll, he stood up and he goes, "Thank God!"
Yeah, oh my god. I was like, he knew what I was gonna say!
Oh my god, he was just like so... oh, that was like the best, like, bead on it, the punctuation on it.
Yeah.
It was...
One thing that I did like, besides what we mentioned earlier about not hearing her inner thoughts and her bitchiness, that they changed, they allow, like, Christian allows her, it's so disgusting to fucking say that, he allows her, he encourages her, Anna, to research things. Yeah. When, like, research, you know, what it's like to be submissive, although she only looked at pictures of submissive. Yeah, so look at some artsy photos. That's going to tell us everything about being a submissive.
And she typed submissive into Google.
And comes up with the, like...
Yeah, it was all sex.
Like stuff from FetLife or something.
Into Google, that's not what you get. You get, like, a definition of the word submissive.
But... So apparently looking at artsy pictures is going to tell you. And she was clearly upset by them, though. Like, they were just, you know, girls tied up. And something... Also, this is kind of going off on a tangent here, but something also that really bugs me about 50 Shades is that they use dominant and submissive the exact same way you would use sadist and masochist, and not all dominants are sadists, and not all submissives are masochists.
Well, he specifically says, "I'm not a sadist." But he is!
He clearly is when he's beating her and she's crying.
And he's like, "I need to hurt you."
That is a sadist.
Yeah,
like, that dominant, like, you're using it wrong. Like, you keep using that word, but you don't know what it means.
Well, clearly dominant means abusive boyfriend to him.
To him, yeah.
Yeah, and like, but yeah, he is a sadist. And I think that's probably why the relationship doesn't work, because she's not a masochist.
No, she's not. And there's, oh my god, thank you for bringing that up, because that's something that I fucking just, ugh. He was, like, explaining to her in the beginning, like, oh, this is what this is going to be like, and the submissives, you know, the reason why the submissive does this is to please the dominant. And I'm like, well, no, the submissive, like, if you're saying this, like, they need to be into it too. Like, it's not, you don't just do this to please somebody else.
Yeah.
You are getting gratification as well. I mean,
it is enjoyable to you as well, not just please me.
Right.
This is your job to please me.
Some people have that, but in this context,
well, and then he was like, well, I'm doing it for your pleasure too, but he knows she doesn't necessarily like the pain element, and she's not into the actual act of submission. Like, the pain itself, she does seem to like the flogger and stuff like that. She does, you know, the milder forms, she does seem to be into that. It's the literal submission that she doesn't like.
Well, because he's also making it, like, 24/7, and that's very rare.
Yeah.
And just, if you meet some guy or some chick in, like, your life, and they're like, oh, I'm into kink, or I'm into the whole DS thing, they don't want to be Christian Grey. Like, not, you know, that's not how it works. Like, it's...
You know, getting back to, like, the casting and stuff, I really, no, we're rambling, that's fine. With the casting, they made such a big deal that Rita Ora was going to be in that movie, and she was, like, barely in it. They were like, oh yeah, Rita Ora is in this movie, and she's playing Mia, and it's like she comes in, and is she Mia in this book or Alice? I get them confused with Twilight. I think Alice is in Twilight and Mia isn't.
I didn't read Twilight, so I don't know.
It's the same character. She comes down the stairs and she's all like, oh, you know, like, happy to meet you, and Christian brought somebody home and all that shit, and she, like, does that, and then at dinner she says, like, something in French, and that's it. And they made such a big deal that she was in this movie, but, like, she was barely in it.
I also, speaking of casting, I also liked, excuse me, the, woman that they cast for the mom, for Christian's, adoptive mom.
Oh yeah, Marcia Gay Harden.
Yeah, no, I was just like, oh, that's great. I don't know why, like, it worked. I was into that. I'm like, all right.
The moms were really a highlight of the movie. Like, Jennifer L., I think that's how you pronounce her name. She was in the Pride and Prejudice miniseries back in the 90s, and she played Lizzie Bennet. She plays Anna's mom, and she does a really good job. She's doing a little bit of a Laura Linney impersonation.
Oh, that's it. Yes.
Yeah, but
I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, but she did a great job, and I actually liked the moms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do have to say, Christian's mom came off as a little bit of a caricature, but all of his family members did in the book. So, yeah. Elliot was the only one that I was really like, he doesn't seem at all the way I imagined him from the book.
Yeah.
But I think he was supposed to be the Jasper character from Twilight, and I had always imagined him as, like, the other Colin, the other, like, why can't I remember his name? I love those books. I'm actually, like, reading through the first one again. Emmett. I always imagined him as Emmett Cullen. And so when I saw him on the screen, I was like, oh, well, clearly he was actually Jasper. I mean, look, we all know that it's... Let's not even pretend like it's... We all know
it was great. Twilight. There was a part where they're outside, and Jen's like, this is the part where he saves her from the car. And, like, once again, I have not seen Twilight, but I know of that scene. I know it exists. And it was great, because, like, 2 seconds later, there's a bike that's coming for him, and he pulls her out of the way. And then I'm just like, that happened. Okay.
Well, and then, like, at one point, he pulls over in the car, and they go walking through the forest.
Yes.
I'm like, this is where he's gonna tell her he's a vampire. Which, like, didn't really happen in the Twilight book, but, you know.
It felt like, yeah, it was really, or he's like, oh, this is where I'm gonna throw you, and I'm gonna dump your body off the side of the road, because you don't get my kinks, kind of.
Here's one thing that they should have fixed from the books, and they didn't. Christian Grey is this gajillionaire. And he, like, shows Anna all of his cars. I swear to Christ, they were all Audis. And I'm like, are you... What, this is your collection? Are you running a dealership?
Yeah, like, well, we know who obviously donated towards the film.
Well, yeah, and that's the same car that was used in Twilight, so that makes sense. Not in the books. In the books, they all drove, like, Porsches, but in the movies, I think they all drove Audis, because they... But I was just like, that is not... Cars are, like, a big thing for me, and I have a real issue with billionaire books, for, like, J.R. Ward's Dark Hunter series. These guys are, like, immoral warriors. One of them has, like, literally... chests of gold sitting around his house. He drives like an Escalade. I was like, really? You could be driving anything, but you chose an Escalade. I could buy an Escalade. So, yeah, I could buy an Audi. I mean, like, why are you... I do think he was driving an R8 at one point, but I couldn't tell because my head was under my coat while I was tweeting.
I don't know anything about cars, so I'm not the one.
I was furious.
I'm trying to think of something else that I found good. I'm gonna nitpick here. They used a condom the second time they had sex, but he used his teeth to open it, and I have an issue with that. As the sex geek of us, I have an issue with
I did not see that.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because your head was under. And I was like, he's using a condom. And she's like, that's great. But he's just like, and puts it on, and just that's not good. Don't open it with your teeth.
No.
Don't do that.
That's not a great idea.
Good.
One thing I thought was interesting is that Durex tried to do like this whole thing where they were like kind of, I'm sure they're not an actual licensed thing because they didn't use like 50 Shades or whatever, but their ad campaign is like Shades of Pleasure or something.
Were they the ones that were trying to come out with a special condom for them, like to go with the movie?
Like here's this, here's this condom and here's this blah 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 and explore, the shades of desire or something like that. And I'm like, okay, Durex, this is a character. Like, Christian Grey does not like to wear condoms.
He says he hates condoms the whole time. He hates to wear them. And I'm just like, you gotta have, like, lots of HPV going on.
Well, that and there's, like, in the third book, there's an unintended pregnancy. I'm like, Durex, this is not your best ad.
Yeah.
Like, that's silly. I don't know. I did like that Jose never says Dios mío. And if you've read the books, it's like he might as well be wearing a sombrero and a serape just through the whole thing because he's always like Dios mío and blah blah blah.
We get it. You're not.
We get it. You're Hispanic.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, and it's just the point is driven so like it's just clearly like, look how multicultural I'm being. Look at how progressive. And in the movie, it's just he's not like that way at all. So.
Yeah. He's just.
Not that I have a problem with people that speak in Spanish occasionally or something.
Right, but it was pushed to an uncomfortable
It was pushed
degree.
to a real racist degree in the books.
It was.
I was like, this is not how, like, I've never met anybody that just said Dios mío like every other sentence.
Yeah. It's weird. And the really thin rope for the bondage was bad too. Like, you can't do that with the really thin rope. If there's gonna be struggling happening, you're gonna...
Well, and it wasn't like, I'm not saying it should be too tight, but it was awfully loose.
Yeah, she could have just, like, slipped her hands out of it, but...
And, but, like, twisting around like that, it's like, you're going to be able to twist your arm all through that rope and just really, like...
Also, like, something else, like, I know they couldn't do this for the movie, really, because I'm sure she didn't want to get, actually bruised up. They so much play acting, but I think that's the point, right? Anyway, if you're gonna get bruised up, you're gonna get cuts. You're gonna get it's not as pretty as it looks.
Well, he was like flogging her rib cage
and the riding crop beneath her belly button. No, don't do that.
Don't hit somebody's abdomen with a riding crop. Well, and he was like,
actually a newbie,
right? And he was like flogging her, and like no marks happened.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be like he was really doing it, and like nothing.
Yeah.
Just porcelain skin.
I think we're starting to nitpick a little bit, but that's
what you do with something like this. But yeah, that was well, the other problem that you had too, that I probably wouldn't have noticed from a set directing thing because I just kind of was watching the characterization and stuff, but you noticed that in his playroom, he had multiples of the same things.
Yes, the exact same things. And like, it's so annoying. He had like 5
the canes.
Canes, yes. And they were all the same thickness, and I'm just like, why would you do that? You should have them like thicker, if it's gonna be
like
this
gradient.
Like this gorgeous setup you got. Like, it was pretty, but like not necessary,
But that was like the floggers. After you said that, because I wasn't really paying attention, I was kind of like and you were like, they're all the same.
Yeah, they're all the exact same thing. Like, the
are.
cuffs are the same. Everything was exactly the same. You don't need all this. You don't need the exact same thing.
He had a drawer full of blindfolds.
Of the same thing.
Yeah. The drawer full of blindfolds I didn't understand because I'm like,
noob.
It had like red and black and gray and all these different like colors, but it's a blindfold. You're not gonna see those colors.
Yeah.
It's over your eyes.
Yeah. I did. Okay, something else that I did like. Some highlights. Lots of pubic hair.
Yeah.
We got to like she was rocking the bush, and they both were very, very pretty. very pretty folks. And but no, we got to see his pubic hair and a little bit of cock going on. Like I was like, we do need more. You know, I do think that we need more frontal male nudity in film. I really do.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, just.
The pubes surprised me.
Yeah, we were both like,
pubes! and honestly, I'm actually astounded that they got away with that for the with the MPAA or whatever. Yeah. They don't like pubes. There was that movie, The Cooler, where Maria Bello. You could see the top, apparently in one of the cuts, you could see the top of her pubic hair. And they were like, you have to take that scene out or it's NC-17.
I've never seen that, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Something else I just thought of, we never got to see anyone come.
Yeah, no orgasms, just like a lot of,
yeah,
and
like, it was like 2 thrusts. It's like we're watching HBO, but not as much fun. And
the sex scenes were all very similar. It was like, he comes in, he does like some very mild
sensation play. Like there was the peacock feather, like that was, you know, it was cute, but like, you know, it's like, oh, you know, it's mostly sensation play. Like that's
and he's like, well, I like to hurt women, and I want to hurt you, and I'm like, that peacock feather doesn't exactly scream hurt to me.
No.
And then like he would go down on her, and then there would be like, you know, like 1 or 2 thrusts,
we
and
never
then
actually
fade into that.
We only ever saw him go there. We didn't actually see.
Right.
Like, it was just like
he was heading down there,
putting, you know, his head there, but we never.
Like, we saw him kiss her through her panties.
Yeah.
In
the panty sniffing. That was interesting. There was one scene that I did. Yeah, no, panty sniffing is pretty hot. But I'm not gonna lie. There is one scene that I did. You know, I thought they did a really good job editing. I did think I find it kind of hot, but like just the editing, it was just pretty. Like it was he's about to use the crop on her ass, and the angle. I'm a pornographer in case you guys don't know, but and the angle was just gorgeous. Like her ass looked great, and the crop, and like he even looked pretty hot, but he was kind of out of focus. It was focusing on her butt, and you know he went to swipe, and that whole scene, it was just pretty. Like it had like this, you know, funky music going on, and it like, I mean, you know, I wouldn't masturbate to it, but I can acknowledge the good editing.
There was sensuality.
Oh yeah.
That. and you know, the whole movie was shot. It was really pretty. And a thing that I really liked was that all of the scenery and all of the scenes like looked exactly like they were described in the book. I like that a lot, which is difficult because she is not as an author, she is not a whiz with description. But it was exactly how I imagined it, which I really liked. And the whole thing was very glossy and beautiful and shot from a visual standpoint. Honestly, it's a movie I might get high and watch again, because like I like to get high and watch like Marie Antoinette. Now I know Marie Antoinette is not the best movie, it's not the best thing that Sofia Coppola has ever done, but man, when you're high, it's so pretty. And so, you know, maybe I would do that with 50 Shades of Grey, just to look at the real estate, you know? I don't know, but
let me know how that goes for you.
Right, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I in terms of like the sexuality and stuff, there was a lot of it that you went, okay, that is very sensual, and it's you know, but it really did show how repetitive the sex scenes were.
Yes.
And one thing I noticed was that every time they start having sex, there's a woman singing. It was like a female voice singing in the background.
Okay.
And like in the scene where he blindfolds her,
it's all like, oh, I'm like, I kind of feel like we're gonna get killed.
Yeah, when she first goes to his apartment, he has like an aria on, and I'm like, this is some Hannibal Lecter shit. Like, this is like if you went to Hannibal's house.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you had a point. Like with it's always female, always a female singing. It's interesting.
It was distracting because there was a Sia song that was playing when they first have sex, and like if she's like singing,
that's
like
right, I told you that. Yeah, I was like, I felt very distracted because I feel like this should be silent. Like,
yeah,
if they're, you know, they're making a big deal about her,
yeah,
you know, losing her virginity to him, which they kept that bit in the movie where, I mean, they kept in the movie where he's like, we have to rectify the situation, and she's like, I'm a situation. Wait, no, that wasn't in the book, was it? But
yeah, no, it was.
Okay, where she's like, I'm a situation,
yeah,
and then they're fucking,
and she didn't say arg, which I like, because in the book,
oh my god, she did!
Arg!
Thrust in
my virginity. And like instead it was like, I felt a more realistic losing virginity thing where it wasn't like she was like, oh, it's so painful. Which, you know, I think a lot of women who have had sex probably can testify that it's not always painful. I mean, there are women that do have pain and have the bad experience, but it's not universal. And I thought that in the books, when she's like so amazingly turned on, but yeah, it was just more like a, oh, like, you know.
Sorry about that, about the books. Excuse me, I don't remember him really trying to excite her as much in the books when he first fucks her. He just gets in there. But like, I think that does say something about the you know, the movie writing, is that they did respect that it was her first time and he did want her to be excited.
Yeah.
Is that creepy to say? Like, just, but, because in the book, he just fucking goes for it. And she's like, arg! She's a pirate.
She says arg. It's like a pirate thing. What? And she didn't say arg in this. But what was really distracting about that scene to me was that the music was on, and in the lyrics, she's going, you can do it. It's like, was one of the lyrics, and I was like, that's a bad lyric to have right here, because I'm like, you can do it!
You can do it all night long.
You can do it all night long! And I was like, oh my god. Yeah. Like, it was like the worst thing to use. I did think that, I think it would be better with the arg. I wanted her to wear a pirate thing and have a parrot. Oh my gosh. They didn't, in the scene where he puts the blindfold on her and he's like teasing her with the riding crop and stuff, they didn't have the earphones in. I thought that was in the first book, that she listened to Thomas Tallis on but maybe that's in the second one.
That might be in the second one, because I'm not sure.
Maybe in the second one.
I've only read through them once, and it was very quick in 2012, and...
Well, the sex scenes are so repetitive that it's like, it's hard to tell from one to the next. The only ones that really got me is, oh, please, for the love of God. When I read the book, I was so grossed out because there's a scene where he like ties her up and he spits in her mouth. He spits wine into her mouth. That grosses me out from an OCD standpoint. Oh my gosh. And actually what's really funny is that she's sitting here with me. You can see this giant, like, gallon-sized drum of hand sanitizer.
Yeah, it's sitting right over there. I kind of want to put some on now.
Right? Like, I feel so dirty. But yeah, so like from an OCD standpoint, that grosses me out, and they actually did show him like take the drink of wine and lean down, and then it was running down her face, and I was like, why did we have to see that?
Like, she could have just like, what they could have done, well, I'm sorry, you're grossed out by that, but like in some movies I find it kind of hot, but like, I feel like what they could have done with that scene, like, he could have kind of like spittled it into her mouth, and she could have had her mouth open instead of it getting all on her face and down on the pillow. Right. Like, I'm just like, come on, guys. Right. But that's... And
he had ice in the wine. Did you notice that? They had ice in the glass of wine.
That was kind of...
I don't do that. Do you put ice?
No, I don't. But I thought that, like, I did think that was it was kind of hot. Like, I'm good. That's another thing that I liked that. I liked the ice. Like, that he had it in between his lips, then kind of moved it around on her. That was. But it's more sensation play. Like, just, it wasn't like just say that you're into sensation. That you're a sensation.
Yeah, like, I want to hurt you. And like, how did he jump from "I'm gonna flog you twice" to "I'm gonna beat you with this belt as hard as I can"?
Yeah, like it just. It's very unreliable.
I mean, we needed more kind of his... This is one thing, is that he was telling Anna, this is what I need. This is what... And she said, well, show me, you know. And he beats her with the belt. To me, I feel like, in a way, it proves in a way that Christian was trying to go more over to her side, or trying more to understand what she needed or wanted than it was in the book. You know?
Yeah, no, I kind of...
Like, he was dialing it back.
Like, I feel like... Because I was thinking about this last night. Like, not when we were watching the movie, but, like, afterwards, I kind of... Because, you know, this whole... Like, through reading the books and everything, and just this whole fucking ordeal, I've always been like, well, he's the worst person ever. But, you know, from watching the movie, like, I kind of felt like she was really manipulating him as well. Like, you know, he's like, I don't do the whole girlfriend thing. Clearly he has an issue with he has a lot of issues, but let's just focus on this little one right now. He doesn't want to get that close to somebody. And she's all like, she wants to touch him and get all up in his business and know about his being molested and raped and just all the terribleness. And she's like, well, I'll do this if we can go on a date, you know. So she's doing the same thing he's doing, only obviously he's doing it with, but you could always argue that he taught her that.
Well, they're both trying to change each other.
Yeah.
They're both
you can't do that.
That's very bad. That's another thing, the thing about the abuse, he takes his shirt off. And in, like, the book, he, like, never takes his shirt off. And he took his shirt off in this, like,
every time, like, in front of her, like, he wanted her to see. It was interesting choices.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we should probably... Oh, sorry. I think this is the one case.
I think this is, like, the one case where the movie is better than the book.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think, like, to summarize, like, it wasn't good, but there were good pieces in it, I think. Mm-hmm. I personally don't really want sequels. I don't know how well it did in the theaters. I mean, we just went, but I don't think the world needs it. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't think the actors and the actresses want it. Like, it just doesn't.
There was very little chemistry between them on screen. It was,
and you can feel it. Like, even during the, you know, scenes that I admitted I thought were hot. Like, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah. It didn't look like... Oh my gosh, some of the stuff, though, he gives her a pencil, and she's, like, chewing on the pencil.
Christian Grey's pencil dick. It even says, like, Grey on it.
Yeah,
he keeps putting it to her mouth, and I'm just like, when he's got a pencil dick?
Like, and then she goes outside, and it's raining, and she leans over, and she's like, it's raining because she's wet.
That's right, I did say that.
And then later when they're, like, breaking up, it's raining again. A lot of the symbology...
She's crying, yeah.
So, like...
Like... She's raining because she's wet. That was better. She never signed the contract in this one either. Like, people were always like, oh, she signed the contract. She did not. She did not.
She's never signed the contract.
He said, fuck the contract, fuck the paperwork several times.
Fuck the contract, fuck the paperwork, but we're still doing everything.
Yeah.
All of those things are still in place. Yeah. She had more agency in the contract scene, I thought.
She did. There was more negotiation, which I did. I'll admit I like that.
And when she said, like, no, like, they didn't say, like, in the book there's a part where they're talking about anal, and she's like, I don't want to do that.
And he's like, I'll change your mind.
And he's like, yeah, he's like, well, we'll ease into it. Your ass isn't something to dive into. Yeah, your ass isn't something to dive into. But in the book, she's like flat out like, I don't want to do that, and he's like, you know, basically
you can tell he's annoyed, but he's like, he does accept it. He does mark it out, like so. Yeah.
Well, that was the anal fisting
and the vaginal fisting.
Anal and vaginal fisting. She
also said no. Genital clamps.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No genital clamps. No.
They chuckled over the wire. Cable ties.
The cable ties, yeah.
Overall, it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was still pretty bad. Like, some scenes, like I said, were really difficult for me to sit through. Just emotionally, like, I felt a little bit triggered by some parts. Yeah.
And some of the worst parts got left out. Like, like the scene at dinner where he, you know, touches her under the table.
He does grab her leg, but, like, it's not, you know.
She pushes it away and he stops.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with, there was still stuff in there where they weren't playing, and he would say, like, you know, like when he was carrying her to the boathouse, he spanked her because he was angry. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's not how it works.
And she was just kind of playing. She was just, like, giggling, because wasn't she, like, tipsy or something?
I don't know.
They drank a lot. Like, he scolds her. That was still the same. He scolds her for being so drunk, but then yet every single time they're together again, he is pouring some sort of wine or champagne or something.
There were some really laughable things that were supposed to be sexy, like when he takes her back to the Heathman, which I have to say, the Heathman Hotel in the movie, it's like, what kind of roadside Knotty Pine motel is this? It looks like your grandma's den. It's got, like, wood paneling and, like, old, like, 70s, like, embroidered flower picture or something. I'm like, what kind of hotel is this? But when he takes her back there after she gets drunk and he picks her up from the bar, even though she says not to, and takes her back and she's unconscious and he undresses her and blah, 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 but he brings her toast to eat and she's taking a bite of the toast and he leans over and like bites her toast, like he sexily comes up the bed and like sexily bites the toast.
And she's just kind of like, what?
Yeah, and she looks at, I think that's one of the things I like the most is that in the movie, Anna is basically like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah, and like she even, when he buys the cable ties and the rope and the electrical tape and the scotch tape, because that's what he fucking buys from her.
But it's not scotch tape because Mr. Jen was furious. He said, that's not scotch tape. He's like, that's a roll of duct tape and a roll of electrical tape. Masking tape is what she said it was.
Yeah, my bad.
And he's like, that's not masking tape. Yeah, Mr. Jen, like, has never... Like, he didn't read the books. He's heard about it from me, obviously, because I talk about it. But he was just like, what is this? Like, he was completely blindsided. He had, like, no...
But he understands now.
He understands now.
He understands why...
I think I've interviewed him for the blog. He can't really be on a video because of his job, but...
Oh, you should totally do that.
I should interview him. I should come up with questions.
Definitely.
Interview him. But, yeah, it was an experience.
Yes, definitely. I'm glad we got to do it together.
I'm glad we did too. I'm glad that if I'm gonna go through hell, I'm glad I did it with somebody, by my side.
Aww.
And but yeah, there was just like so many, little things. I mean, honestly, I was excited to see it because I spent so long recapping it, and I feel like I don't know. I spent 2 solid years just studying these books, so it was kind of fun to see this, even though I hate the books, it was sort of fun to see them, like come to life.
Yeah, no, I agree. It had its moments.
There was no Mrs. Jones. The housekeeper.
No Mrs. Jones.
She wasn't in it.
She wasn't there to clean the butt plug.
That's her job. She's got to clean the butt plugs. Butt plugs, yeah.
What are butt plugs?
What are butt plugs? Anna, can you figure that out from the name? What a butt plug is? Come on. Oh my gosh, my heart is broken. I just realized there was no Mrs. Jones.
Aww.
Taylor was fantastic.
He was
exactly
very
as I
good looking
imagined
as well.
Yeah. They should have gotten Jason Statham for the role.
That would have been great.
When I read the books, I was like imagining Jason Statham, and then in the back of my mind, I was like imagining his take on all of this stuff and like how he would be reacting, and like Taylor was I should write like a naughty book,
write
like
some fan fiction about
Banging the Billionaire's Bodyguard.
Do it. I'll read it.
People would buy that. It's got alliteration in the title. But Banging the Billionaire's
So are you gonna make a blog about this as well? About our
yeah, I'm gonna blog, and I'll probably like end up repeating a lot of stuff here, but it'll probably be more angry. I think I'm just emotionally tired.
Yeah.
No, I really felt like we came home, and I really did feel bad for Mr. Jen because we came home and we were kind of tired and we went to bed. And he could not go to sleep. He was like, and then this happened, and this happened, and this and that. He was horrified. I was like, I felt bad at that point. I was like, oh my god.
He finally understood what was
he got it.
Going through. And I understand. I had a rough time sleeping too. So
yeah, it was because there was so much stuff in it that is sort of triggering, and even though it was fun to see it, it was also not fun from that aspect. Yeah.
So where can we find you, Jen?
We can find me at jennytrout.com.
Yay. Awesome.
Yay. Where can we find you?
We can find me on Twitter. Just be cautious because I have some adult content there. At that Miss Quin. Quin with one N. And hopefully I will be making more awesome videos than the scenes that we saw last night.
I think that it would not be hard. And now you know what angle to go for.
Yes!
Are we going to see that angle in your...
We will someday see that angle.
That angle in your... Yeah.
Well, this was fun.
This was awesome. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah.